Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Let's Play series, Can I Beat Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time before the remake releases? I am S.A.N, and when we last left off, we had just cleared the bottom of the well and got the Lens of Truth. And as I discussed last time, there was technically something we could do here. There are two temples left. The Shadow Temple, which I could easily go do now, or the Spirit Temple, which is in the Gerudo Desert. So, as we can see here for a moment, the intended purpose, this is the Spirit Medallion, and the one above it is the Shadow Medallion. So the intended route originally was likely to be Spirit Temple first, Shadow Temple last. So I thought it would be interesting to circumvent expectations and go that way. And even if this costs me a bit of time, well, there's still no release date for the Ocarina of Time remake, and yeah. I'm on the penultimate temple, regardless of how you look at it. So we're going to do that. So, time to head to the Gerudo Desert. I have to say, Hyrule's looking a lot better now that Death Mountain doesn't have a ring of fiery death around it. Alright. So, once more we need to go through here. This also means we'll be learning the last teleportation song today. Alright. Come to think of it, we woke up Talon last time when we found him. We should probably go check in along on a ranch because it's only going to be a short delay anyway. Just to see how things are going in there, see if we change things around or not. I mean, it's literally right here. And then we will need Epona to get into Gerudo Desert anyway. Alright, so back to Lon Ranch. Oh, well, Ingo was still here. Oh, he's no longer in his boss getup, though. It's so honored to work here. Okay, I think he might be sucking up considering he tried to take over now. Ah, Malin. Let's go talk to her. Thank you so much for the other day. I haven't even asked you. I'm amazed she doesn't recognize us yet. Yes, it's me, Malin. Yes. I know I'm wearing blue now instead of green, but... Wow. Apparently she was sure it was us, but wasn't sure? Okay, apparently he's... Oh, maybe he's concerned... Maybe that's why he's acting the way he is. He was concerned that Ganondorf might find out that he lost the horse that was meant to be him, so he's turned back to a normal, nice person. Yeah, we found your dad, too. Yep. There's a theory online, by the way, that Link ends up with Malon. I think I've covered it briefly before, that it kind of makes sense. The reason they think it is because, well, Twilight Princess, which is meant to branch off from this timeline, it comes from that. Oh. Yeah, get used to Navi asking us to play the Nocturne of Shadow, because, as I said, the game expects us to go to the Shadow Temple first. But we're not. So like I said, the theory is that because Link lives on a ranch and is a ranch hand in Twilight Princess, and Twilight Princess is meant to come off of the branch of the timeline of this game, one of the many branches in the timeline. So, yeah. That's part of that, and also apparently people have commented the fact that Link's hair is more dirty blonde and that, which implies that his mother was probably a redhead. And that means Malon. Of course, that does raise the question of, we don't know how many years passed between Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, and also, technically Twilight Princess is in the branch of the timeline where the Hero of Time fails, if I remember correctly. So, technically, doesn't that mean this Link is dead? I don't know. It's a weird theory. I just thought I'd mention it. Alright, so here we have the entrance of Gerudo Valley. And believe it or not, this is the one part of this game where you technically need Epona for, I think. There might be... I don't know if there's a way of doing it without Epona, but this is meant to be the intended way of doing it. And good grief for these horse controls. Yeah, some of the controls, like for the camera, horseback riding, archery, and aiming, that sort of thing, I hope Nintendo gives them some upgrades for the remake. They've not aged the best, because this is, I mean, this is basically tank controls, which I do have some experience with, but still. This isn't the easiest thing to do when you're using a joystick. Alright, so as soon as we get across this bridge... Alright, we have to leap this gap. Yeah, opponent can leap that gap with ease, but struggles getting up that little ramp, by the way. 12 arrows. I probably should have stocked up on arrows before coming here. Oh boy, I hope that's not going to be a problem. Alright, so this is the Master Carpenter. Yeah, the Gerudo broke the bridge for some reason, and he's here to fix it, but all his workers have run off. Apparently they wanted to go become thieves and didn't realize that, oh, it's an all-women thieves guild, so there's probably going to be issues with that. So, yeah, we have to go find his workers. I mean, do not ask me why, but it's mandatory. We have to do this. Alright, so we just have to go down here. This isn't a very big area. And now we're in the Gerudo Fortress, where we will spend the vast majority of this video. This is another stealth section similar to the one in Hyrule Castle earlier. The main difference is, whereas that one was very straightforward, this one is overly complicated. Alright, so if they catch you, they throw you in jail. And, yeah. The only way to stun them, by the way, don't ask me how this works, is to shoot them with the bow and arrow. You can also just sneak around a bit, but there's a bunch of tight corridors inside the fortress where there are guards patrolling, so it's not the easiest. Alright, so this is the first thieves' hideout. These areas are basically where they're sealing up the carpenters that we need to rescue. And I think it's done this way so that you know when you've run into one. Because, basically, otherwise it's very easy to get lost in the Gerudo Fortress. Yeah, all of his fellow carpenters are imprisoned somewhere in here, and we have to get them out, and apparently they'll repay the favor somehow. Yeah, and there are Gerudo guards around here. Like, right there. Alright, so this is the Gerudo guard we have to fight. Yeah. She fights with two scimitars, and or I guess cutlasses, technically. Her standard attacks are, she blocks our sword attacks, and she does a few herself. The main trick is to basically thrust at her with the Master Sword whenever there's a gap in her defense. She also has a double spin attack. There it is, right there. Avoid that move at all costs. It can get through your shield, and if she knocks you down, she takes you prisoner, and you have to escape, and you have to do this all over again. This isn't too difficult to fight. The main annoying thing is that she dances around an awful lot, and does a lot of acrobatics and guards quite frequently. As you can see, you can block it with the shield, but it's a bit like the Stalfos' jump attack, and the fact that you can clip through your shield. And if it does, you get knocked unconscious and taken prisoner. Yeah, there's not much else to say about this fight. Just keeping your distance, and like I said, the thrust attack is your best friend here. There you go. Once she's defeated, she runs off, and we get a key. And now we can free the carpenter. And I'm going to apparently try and fail to break open this wooden box. That's for a bit. Arrows, good. Yes, I'm going to need a lot of those, because as I said, the bow is how you primarily stun all the Gerudo guards in this area. And I forgot to stock up on arrows before coming here. I hope that's not going to be a problem. So this is Ichiro, the carpenter. I find it funny how they all have Japanese names. Most of the other names are Western names, but some of them have Japanese names, much like Kojiro, the cuckoo we found, the blue one. Alright, so we have 3 more carpenters to find. And he is going to basically saunter off and somehow not get captured again. Do not think too hard about that one. Alright, so now we get to proceed through here. Alright, so now we're back outside. We want to go back inside immediately because there's more guards out here than there are inside. Alright, this is the situation. This is the area I told you that was going to be difficult. See, there are guards patrolling here, and there's tons and tons of tight corridors. And if they spot us for even like a second, there you go. They'll run in and capture us, and Link just gives up. I don't know why. Link could very easily defeat them all. Alright, so here we are in the prison now. I mean, they're not exactly the best at their jobs, because they've left us all our equipment, including the long shot, which means we can very easily long shot up there and get out. Alright. Now we can go down here. Alright, Thieves' Hideout. Another one. Yeah, alright. So this is what we do. We take the bow, and we basically just snipe them from a distance. This doesn't kill them, it knocks them out, because... and... yeah, that's basically it. Don't think too hard about how that's working. I guess they didn't want Link to actually have to kill, I guess, innocent women, Gerudo guards, because not all Gerudo are evil. So, yeah. Alright, so here we are. We're above the prison now. Alright, purple rupee. Well, I do not need that right now. Alright, if we long shot over to that chest, we can get over there, which helps us out. And this is a heart piece, I believe. Yes, it is. I don't know how many more of those we are going to get. Now we've come to 3, so if I get one more, there is one more over by the Spirit Temple. That might be the last one we get in this game. As I said, I'm not entirely sure where all of them are, but... oh, good grief. Well, if I had made that, that would have been a lot simpler. Alright, so we've got Ivy here we can climb up. We've got a door there. Okay, so this is the upper area. Yeah, we know where that is. What about the other way? Okay, good. This is the second one. So getting caught there actually did kind of give us a shortcut. Yeah. Well, we're not doing pretty good so far. Well, one of them is free now. We've, yeah. If you get us out of here, we will repay you. So, yeah, they all say the same thing. Yeah, well, alright. Watch out, yep. Alright, so round 2 of this fight. There is absolutely no difference. Just, this area is a bit more open than the previous one. A bit more space to maneuver in, which does help us. But it does help her as well, because, as I said, she'll basically cartwheel around the area and backflip away. Yeah, have to be careful when she does that spin attack, when she charges. Unfortunately, it has a long wind-up animation, which means you can quickly stab her with a Master Sword if you want. Yeah, I don't mind trading hits with her a little bit, because she only does half-heart damage. It's, again, the big spin attacker to watch out for. Almost there. That's the thing about this fight. It's kind of just back and forth. This is kind of similar to the Shadow Link fight, except you can't just Din's fire your way out of it, which is what I did. And that's kind of the annoying thing about this fight, is it just goes on for a while. There we go. 2 down. She's frozen in midair for the freeze frame for the key. Yeah, they just fly out of the frame, basically. Alright, that's number 2. Okay, Jiro the Carpenter thinks we're a cute kid, despite the fact we're clearly an adult at this point. These women are so scary. I'd rather be a carpenter and join them. Well, it's not like the Gerudo are not open about the fact that they don't allow men into their camps and fortress. Anyway, he's going to saunter off as well. And that means we have 2 more to find. Now you're probably thinking we're making pretty good time here. So why did I say this is a really annoying area? Well, things have been going well so far, but that's about to change. Trust me. I spent way too long on this area because you're going to see some of the sections here. See, there's a guard there, but that's not the problem. It's these internal areas with the narrow corridors with where you have seconds to react, and the camera, see, I can basically, they saw me but I didn't see them. That's gonna be a recurring theme. And we're back in prison again. Well, time to long shot out of here. And do it all over again. And that's the main problem with this area. It's not very fun, it's not challenging, it's not interesting to talk about, it's just boring. And this is why I was concerned I didn't bring enough arrows, because this is, as I said, the main way we knock out these guards. Fortunately, that first thieves' hideout we went into, where the first carpenter is hidden, the urns in there respawn all the time and refill, which is useful because one of the urns always drops 10 arrows, which means I will not actually have to worry about running out. And at one point, you will literally see me go back in and out of that room just to resupply my arrows, which is good. The downside is this is going to be a long and tedious segment, and it's going to take up quite a bit of this. So, for those of you who want to stick around, please do, because this is an important section of the game. But I'm feeling a bunch of you are probably going to get really frustrated and annoyed with me for getting caught all the time by the Gerudo guards. So, I will put a timestamp on here, which does not help me at all. I still have to keep recording these videos. Recording a voiceover for this video, so, yeah. And that's also probably why you can tell this video didn't go the full length, because this was intended to be a short segment before getting on the Spirit Temple. But, well, this can be very tricky. I mean, I'm at the halfway point now for freeing the guards, but I'm nowhere close to the the halfway point of getting through Gerudo Fortress. So, I'm going to put a timestamp here in a moment, and anyone who wants to skip ahead to the Spirit Temple section is willing to can do so. Everyone else, I hope you stick around and suffer just as much as I'm about to having to record this. Alright, so for those of you who are still here, we now have to do this again. And I probably should have just used a guide for this part, which is something I will eventually get to. I really wish I could get to that leap. This is the one thing that probably doing this before doing the Shadow Temple is going to be annoying, because the magic item we get in the Shadow Temple is the hover boots. So they're quite like the iron boots that they let you basically, well, hover for about 2 or 3 seconds past leaving an edge, and they kind of allow us to, well, they said, get a bit more distance before we fall. So I would be able to make that if I had the hover boots, but I don't have them. That's fine. They're not necessary for this section. They would just make this a bit easier. Alright. So now we need to look around in here for the next one, yeah. I've learned, I'm wondering if it's gonna go, if the guard's gonna come by here or not, but I don't think it does. I think she just comes around the corner, and she's just been spotting me. Or does she come across? That's the other thing. So many of these sections look the same, that even when I'm doing this voiceover, it's so difficult for me to remember which section is which. Yeah, no. This way is the way I have to worry about. Yeah. Here we go. This is the problem. I'm trying to think of commentary to say here, but I've said most of the things that need to be said so far, which is not good, because we have half an hour left of this. And also, my aim just isn't the best with the bow. There are 3 arrows that took. Then again, at the long distance, my aiming with the bow is not the best. Ah, there we go. It's easier when you get in time and range to Z target them. Unfortunately, if you're in range enough to Z target them, they're basically in range to see you. At some point, I'm going to figure out while I'm playing this that they actually face you in the direction you need to go. Oh, okay, I'm going down here, apparently. Not the worst, because this is, I said, the area where we can replenish our arrows. And it actually doesn't cost us much of anything. There we go. 20 arrows now. I can't remember what what I have to do to upgrade the quiver size. I'm pretty sure it has something to do with one of the archery range games. No, that was the wrong button. Yeah, I was playing a different game at the time, and in that game, Link's Awakening, for those of you wondering, opening the map is minus on the Switch. So that's why I opened that there. Yeah, so here we are again. I spent a lot of time in this section. Yeah, I'm starting to realize as well, this just leads me here. I can just go around and... Alright. Technically speaking, out here is actually much easier to navigate with and just to deal with the guards. You can't, by the way, you can hit them with hook shot, but it does not knock them out. It turns them blue and does the stunning animation, just the same thing it does with a lot of other enemies who don't take damage from it. Yeah, the problem is I'm pretty sure I know where that goes now. Alright, yeah, so bit of a waste. So yeah, you can use the hook shot, but it's not a permanent solution. There we go again. Also, with all the wooden boxes around, there's a good chance the hook shot will just pull you towards the guards. And now we have to do it all again. Trust me, this is going to get even more and more tedious. Well, at least the Gerudo Gerudo Fortress theme is nice to listen to. Yeah, around this time I was kind of regretting not just going to the Shadow Temple. Oh well. I don't know why it's so hard to get up on that table to get to those urns, but it is. Alright, and here we go again. I really should have just looked up where the remaining 2 carpenters are. This would have simplified things considerably. At some point here, we're going to try a different tactic. I do not think we're there just yet, so I'll leave it until we get to that point. Because, as I've said, it's when you're in the inside and the narrow corridors when I really have all the trouble. Outside here, I have plenty of room to maneuver, to sneak around, and plenty of range with which to shoot arrows at the guards. Yeah, so this one is... Yeah, okay, got captured again. This... There we go, I finally realized that I'm facing the right direction. They automatically face you that way to save you some time. Oh, I didn't get the running start. Not a big deal. Alright. No, get the arrows! That's fine, I'll be back. The arrows were never the problem in this, so... Ah, yes, here's where I start to think maybe it's a better idea to stay outside. At some point I do start doing that. Unfortunately, it doesn't only help so much. At least one of the remaining thieves' hideouts and where the carpenters are hidden requires us to navigate these tight corridors and take out the guards. So, yeah, it's as nice as it would be just to stay outside and fill the patrolling guards with arrows. Yeah. Shooting at this long distance is not helpful. Alright. No, I'm going back in, apparently. Well, yeah, I have to get, basically, the remaining two cells have to be in areas I haven't visited yet. So, I kind of have to navigate these narrow corridors now. Good grief, yeah. Oh, how I wish I could just skip ahead. The good news is we're at the halfway point now for this segment. The bad news is that means we have as far to go as we've already come. And knock them out again. Seriously. The sad part is, if this was actually just a combat segment, I think this would have taken, like, well, probably 15 minutes, maybe? But it's not. It's a stealth section, which unfortunately is not something Ocarina of Time was designed for. This isn't like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, when there are stealth mechanics in the game that you can take advantage of. There's no crouching, there's no decreasing sound, there's no stealth potions or equipment. It's just you have to sneak around and hope you don't get caught. That and I suppose memorize the guard locations, which I haven't done. As I've said before, I do not play Ocarina of Time nearly as much as I play other Zelda games like A Link to the Past. Alright. Oh wow, she just comes right down the central corridor. No wonder she caught me before. Alright, here we go, yet again. And here we are yet again. Trust me, as frustrating as this must be for you to watch, it was much more so for me to record, and more importantly for me to have to record this voiceover. Well, we all make mistakes, and this is unfortunately just a part of it. I'm really, really glad I'm so ahead in this game so far at this point. Far ahead, because otherwise this would be so tedious. I'd actually be concerned that if I was going to not be able to complete this video series before the remake comes out, but let's be honest. 6 videos in, we're at the penultimate temple. I think I'm going, at this point, I feel pretty confident in saying I'm beating this game before October arrives, let alone before the remake releases. Here, there we go, I can get up there now. Alright. Decide to try and use the high ground to take a look around. Can't climb up there. However, I do not think I've been in here yet. Okay, no, we have, just not from this side. See, that opens up into one of the other... We've been on that ledge over there, where the other entrance is. There you go. I'm trying to take out all of these Gerudo guards so we can take a look around. I'm also incredibly nervous at this point. I think if we get to that platform in the middle there, we're basically safe. But it doesn't matter. This comes out, yeah, here. Alright, so this is the second hideout we've already been through again. I keep going through in a loop, basically. The problem is, I get thrown in prison so many times here, I lose track of where I am. So, there's no internal map, essentially, for this area, like a dungeon. So I can't bring up the map and see where I'm going. So I really should have just used a guide for this part. But I was stubborn, so we won't get to that just yet. There'll be a section here where I pause the game for a bit and look up where I need to go. Yeah, I know that way's no good. See, the problem is the remaining ones are all branch off of areas that have these narrow corridors. The other thing is I'm concerned I'm running low on arrows at this point, because I haven't gone back yet to resupply yet. Again, it won't be a problem, but at the time I was a little concerned. See, there's a third guard that comes just to the edge there. Alright, I should be able to see from here, yes, but I... The other thing is I cannot remember, and people can correct this and then tell me in the comments if this is true or not, because I'm not sure. Do the Gerudo guards ever wake up? Because that was another concern. I thought I was under a time constraint. I honestly cannot remember. And you think I would have looked that up too. Alright. Yeah, this is where I'm starting to consider maybe it's better to just take them out outside. Oh yeah, I'm gonna try the hook shot here. So now you get to see what the hook shot does. Nothing when it misses, of course, but there you go. Turns them blue and stuns them temporarily. Does not knock them out. I was wondering if I needed the bow because I was running low on arrows. Yeah, it's really annoying when you walk right next to these wooden crates and Link stands on them. He's like, "Here I am! Come get me! Come throw me back in jail!" There we go. Why is it so hard to get up on this table? There we go. I wonder why they gave you magic. Magic bottle there. What magic is supposed to help here? There's no invisibility spell or something. Farore's Wind, maybe? There's no dungeon map here, so no, Farore's Wind won't work either. I'm not sure. Well, we'll never find out, probably. At least I've gotten the hang of that now, because that really does save some time. Getting to this point here. Yeah. Unfortunately, all of the entrances are on the lower levels. Yeah, I'm really regretting I haven't played the Nocturne Shadow at this point, Navi, but I made my decision, I'm sticking to it. I mean, this will be worthwhile in the long run. I can't think of very many people who have done Let's Plays for this game and have not... There we go, it takes care of that. That's really easy. There we go. Drop down there. Unfortunately, this takes me back into where I am, so I'm just going in circles at this point. That's part of the problem. This is, by its very definition, a maze, and because you get thrown in jail so often and it gets very frustrating, I just lose track of where I am. This is like getting grabbed by a wall master, but worse. Because you can kill a wall master. They never look up. Except for that one time they did when I was playing Dishonored. And that took me completely by surprise. There we go. At least they're generous with the arrows, which is good. Because otherwise this would be really annoying. Alright, I should be fine at this distance, just... There we go. They really do need to update the bow controls. Alright, that's it. Unfortunately, I think we went out the wrong door. Yeah, It's the other one we need. Well, technically, no, it's not the other one we need. Fortunately, we're getting close to the time I checked where in the timestamps, sorry, in my videos where exactly I am supposed to get the each carpenter. Alright, here's where I start deciding, well, maybe if I just take out these guards out here, I'll have an easier time looking around outside. This was a good plan. Unfortunately, it didn't work here. That's fine, because an easier spot to hit all three of those guards, a better vantage point, is actually right here at the start. The downside is, as I said, the bow is not the most accurate over long distance, so... Alright, took one out. That one missed by miles. There we go, that one hit. There we go. This is where I start using the outdoor... expansiveness of the outdoor area to my advantage. Alright. This should be number 3. Yes, it is. This one's kind of annoying, because the other two had a lot more room to maneuver in. This one's very small. And as I told you, her spin attack covers a large area, so... yeah, this one's going to be a problem, I suspect. We've freed 2 of them so far, and it's only taken us almost 40 minutes. Yeah, we've beaten her twice now. Alright, round 3. Unfortunately, really close quarters now. Which gives her the advantage. Oh yeah, I tried to see if she's can be stunned with Deku Nuts. No, it just causes her to basically close her eyes and shield herself with her swords. There you go. That's what the spin attack does if it clips through your shield. Annoying. However, at this point, I didn't care, because I now knew where I had to go. And by the way, up until this point, I still hadn't used the guide yet. I'm pretty sure I used the guide for the last one, because I was getting really frustrated where it didn't look. It's a good thing I have arrows to spare at the moment, but I'm running out. Yeah, lead the target, and there we go. Just memorize the routes for the outside one, and then hit them when they reach their stopping points, the easiest strategy. Alright, let's try this again. Speedrunners must hate this section, because of all the fortunately, we get to skip the dialogue on that guy again. We just go straight to the fight. But yeah, this section must cost you so much time for speedrunners. Well, lots of speedrunners tend to just skip segments using glitches. I'm not doing that, obviously. A, I don't know where the glitches are, because I never bothered to learn, and B, I just don't care for doing that. That's, if you're gonna skip entire sections of a game, then why bother playing the game in the first place? Why bother buying the game? I mean, think about it. In Pokemon games, there's a code you can enter using a Game Shark. It lets you basically just go right to the end screen immediately from the start of as soon as you enter the house, as soon as you start playing the game. What's the point of doing that? You're skipping the entire game. Do that. Just like how there's apparently a skip that lets you go from inside the Deku Tree or something right to the final boss fight or something again. I mean, if you want to do that, fine. I don't want to attack anyone, but that just seems like a complete waste of time and money for that matter, because you're spending... I mean, think about it. A AAA game these days costs about $80 Canadian. Alright, finally, after way too long, we got the 3rd small key, and we have now freed the 3rd carpenter. Saburo, the carpenter. And, yeah, have you seen our boss? Yeah, he sent us to rescue you. Actually, he's really annoyed with all of you. Yeah, if I have the all no, that's just a countdown, obviously, but still. And for the 3rd time, one of them saunters off and does not get caught. No arrows in here. I'm running low. And no arrows in there. Alright. So, at this point, it's probably just a good idea I tell you where we have to go. Because I think I'm about to... Yeah, I save here because I've done 3 of them already. And then, yeah, I create a suspend point as well because I'm getting annoyed. And I think this is where I decide to look up where the final one is. Yeah, because I pause here. No, not yet? Oh, okay. It's coming up. Anyway, if you look off to the side in that section there... we go back out here for a second. There's... I've gone past it so many times now. There's basically just a small doorway that you can go through, a small passage, and if you go through it, it leads into the final section where the last thieves' hideout is. Unfortunately, I do not know where that is just yet. I really should have just used a guide because this is getting really tedious. Talking about the same thing over and over again. 2 arrows left, and I waste 1. But I hit with the second. Why is it so hard to get up on these tables? Why? Yeah, I'm going the wrong way at this point anyway. Right, there. On the... If you pause there when I just said, in the top left corner of the screen there's a small section that has... There's a passageway just off the side. If you just look there, that's where we have to go. I do not know that at this moment. Oh yeah, here's something else I found out. If you go through the loading screen and they catch you, the game loads on anyway. So that's a trick you can use if you want to just avoid it in certain sections. It's not going to work all the time. I do not know why they didn't bother giving us more arrows. I was really concerned at this point because I was getting annoyed at this section and I forgot that I can just go get as many arrows as I want in that first cell area. That I was going to have to leave and come back because to get more arrows, but obviously I did not. Yeah, that area right there, just across that little, you can still see it. I mean, it makes sense. This isn't a very big area. There's nothing in this game is very large because it had to fit on the N64. See, now I'm just going in a loop because I'm confused. Yeah, it's gonna take a little while longer. Not too much longer, fortunately, because well, I already put where the timestamp is. It's around the 51-minute mark where we finally gonna get through this. Yeah. I mean, I'm just running out of things to say now because I've said it all so many times. I mean, I'm not sure what I was planning on doing here without arrows, because this section, that's the other thing, you need arrows for this section. There's basically no way around it. I think what I'm trying to do at this point is sneak back to where the first cell is and get arrows that way, which is kind of, yeah, this is what I'm doing at the moment. This is where I had this idea of realizing, well, there's always 10 arrows in one of these urns, so just repeatedly destroy this urn until you get 30 arrows. So now I have a plan, at least, for resupplying my arrows. Yeah. Go in, go out. It's probably safer to go in and out the other way. No, it's probably safer this way because there's a bit of cover. That and the guards don't have the best reaction time. So you do have the time to go back in and out. Yeah, because they always spawn looking away from the entrances. The Nintendo was kind enough to do that. There we go, 30 arrows again. Alright, Now, if only I would look up where I need to go. I really should have used a guide for this section. I don't like doing that. I have used guides for minor things in this, like finding heart pieces, because I did it early on because, well, why not? It's just like, that's side stuff. I don't really remember most of the side things, but I remember this section very well. Unfortunately, I just don't remember where I had to go for the final one. So, up that way, I think I've finally spotted it. The problem is, I don't know how to get there at this point. The irony is, I think I could very easily get there with ease if I just got caught again and went the high ground route, basically, as I call it, going over the rooftops. There it is again, just in the top left. That's where that small section there you see in the top left corner with the entranceway there. That's where I have to go. As long as we're at a distance from her, I don't think she can spot us. We can't go that way. Down that way is the Gerudo training grounds, which we will eventually, which I might eventually get to, because I might want to get the ice arrows, because that's where they're kept. Thank you very much, Nintendo, for putting that near the end game. They would have come in handy a lot sooner. And they actually can be used against the boss in the Shadow Temple, which again hints at the fact that they were probably designed to get them beforehand. But they're completely out of the way at an endgame area, which if you do the Nintendo route, you don't come to until, well, the end. Yeah, I'm still struggling to figure out how to get where I need to go. That's the problem with this sort of area. And people complain about the water temple. I enjoyed the water temple. No, that way, wrong way. Yeah, unfortunately, past me was just really confused and just getting really tired of this at this point. But not tired enough, apparently, to look up where I need to go just yet. I know I did it at some point. There it is. It's down there. I really should have used up on the C-stick to look around more. Alright, I think this is it. Yeah, there we go. I saw my cursor go across the screen. There we go. Ooh, it was worth it. In here. This is where we need to go. Unfortunately, that is not the only problem here. So this area does have, yeah, a patrolling guard. But that's about it, actually. But now I'm super cautious at this point. Alright, here we go. The last cell. And I was so relieved at this point. You would not believe how relieved I was. Yeah, very tenacious to make it past all these guards. No, they're all free now except you. Yeah, I fought her technically 4 times by this point because I did get caught once. So I'm up 2 points, 3 points to 1 on victories against this girl. I think I know what I'm doing at this point. So nothing new to say, which is kind of the other tedious thing about this. The mini boss you have to fight for this sort of area 4 times. Technically, I had to fight it 5 times, but still. There's no new tricks to this. There's no new strategy. It's just a rinse and repeat, unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of people really like Ocarina of Time. I do enjoy it. It's a great game, but this is one of the segments that definitely keeps it from being the best Zelda game of all time, I'm afraid. Anyone who thinks it is, they're kidding themselves. So the remake might improve on things. This could definitely do with some reworking. Good grief. This has been here for over nearly 50 minutes at this point. Just in this one segment. Alright. Yeah. Enough of this game of cat and mouse. Let's just end this so we can move on. I didn't expect this segment to go on this long. I forgot how tedious this was. Finally. Finally, it is over. If there's one segment that I find really tedious in any Zelda game, this is probably near the top of the list. Now we have Shiro the Carpenter. A desert that I overheard the Gerudos talking about. They said in order to cross the Haunted Wastelands, you'll need the Eye of Truth. Well, we have that, so that's not a problem. Yeah. There we go. Finally. Finally. And here we have the Gerudo captain, who's basically in charge of everything. And she's been impressed so much with us that she's going to change her opinions on men a bit and going to actually give us well, permission to wander around her fortress, essentially. So we can come and go now as we please. Yeah, so you have to tell us about Naburu, who is the essentially the second in command here. Her headquarters in the Spirit Temple, which we need to go. It's at the end of the desert. Well, I don't really want to become a member of your Thieves Guild, but if it means I no longer have to, yeah, sneak around here, perfectly fine. So we have the membership card now. We can also get into the Gerudo training grounds, which we will probably do at some point. Not this video. This video's already taken. We've spent way too much time here already. Yeah, she's gonna repeat the same thing. So we need the Lens of Truth to get through the desert. That's not gonna be a problem. Yeah, and I'm definitely saving after that. Oh, finally, it's over. Alright, so now we can come and go as we please and enjoy the music. And we actually go talk to these guards now. They all say the same thing, though. Basically, from now on, you are free to come and go as you please. Through the gate of the desert, yeah. Spirit, and they basically all tell us the exact same thing, because they're trying to direct us, the player, to where to go next. So this gate over here is where we need to go. Alright. Yeah. I think it's the one at the top we need to talk to open up the gate. Alright. Now that we got that all out of the way, oh, I have no idea how glad I am to be able to talk about something other than that segment now. Alright, so, yeah. Yes, we are going to the desert. Thank you for opening the gate, but you cannot cross the desert unless you pass the 2 trials. The first trial is the River of Sand. Yeah, you can't walk across this river after you cross it. Follow the flags to be placed there to basically, yeah. The second trial is the Phantom Guide, which is what we need the Lens of Truth for. Basically, we just need to follow a ghost on an incredibly ecliptic path. Through the desert. Yeah, so the good news is the hard part's behind us, but we still have a bit more to go before we get to the Spirit Temple. And this is why I made sure to do the bottom of the well first before anything else, before doing this video, because ultimately we need the Lens of Truth regardless which way we were going to go. Alright, so now we're in the Haunted Wastelands. So this river of quicksand here is what we're talking about. We can't walk across it. As you see, we will just fall through. So there are 2 ways to cross it. We could use the hover boots, which we don't have, or we can use the long shot. One of these boxes, I believe, is the one we have to aim for. I think it's, yeah, it's the middle one. There we go. The long shot is just long enough that it'll pull us across. And this is why you need to complete the water temple before coming here. Alright, we don't need the Lens of Truth just yet, though visibility is not exactly... yeah, there's a carpet merchant over there who sells stuff. Not necessary. Visibility isn't the best, but we just have to follow these flag poles and try not to get lost in the sandstorm. Fortunately, they're not positioned too far apart, so just look around, you should be fine. Oh yeah, the map is useless here. Fortunately, this area is not very big, so we don't have to worry too much. There we go. Then we need to get to this building. Alright, so we need to come at the top here of this little stone encampment, I guess. This tablet, one with the Eye of Truth, will see the guiding ghost. There we go. Now we need to follow it and not lose track of it. We can Z-target or you can just follow behind it. Z-targeting does mean you don't lose it, but we do move slower. And also, it can easily get out of range of our Z-targeting. There we go. Just start rolling after it. Oh. Oh yeah, also these levars will start coming out of the sand to attack us. Annoying, but just ignore them. It's not important. They do not do nearly enough damage to actually warrant your concern. Just keep following the ghosts. And do not lose it. Because that's definitely something that can happen. Because you can see, it just starts going in circles. It's definitely trying to lead us astray here, despite the fact it's meant to be guiding us. Eventually, it will start heading you in this direction towards these two flagpoles here, and it'll lead you past it. This is the way you need to go. Fortunately, this doesn't take too long. And yes, by the way, you do need to follow the ghost. There is no other way. Alright. And here we are, the outskirts of the Spirit Temple, the Desert Colossus. Alright, first things first, these two palm trees over here, there's going to be a bombable wall. But you can kill the levars if you want, or just ignore them. It's literally not important. But apparently I'm really frustrated with having to go through the Gerudo Fortress, so I decided to kill something. So bomb this wall here. In here we will find another Great Fairy's Fountain. So, we know the routine by now. Play Zelda's Lullaby on the Triforce Crest and receive her magical boon. Also, you can, again, bear in mind, you can come back into these places and heal afterwards. I do that, definitely do that at some point. Alright, yet another Godiva Girl, Great Fairy. I'm honestly curious if this outfit and appearance is going to get censored or not in the remake, because with the updated graphics, this is going to be probably a bit revealing for an E for Everyone game. Well, the E10 is what the rating is going to be, so we know that. She's going to teach us a magic spell. The third and final magic spell in this game, and is also probably the strongest. Nehru's Love. It creates a magical barrier around us that makes us completely immune to damage. It is very effective, but very costly. And yeah, it says it has a limited time use, which is fine. I don't know exactly how long it lasts. Probably close to... Well, we'll see at some point, because I'll cast it at some point. Alright. We actually don't need the Lens of Truth for the rest of this segment, actually. Alright, time to head into the Spirit Temple. Because we're nearly an hour into this video. We're basically an hour into this video, and we just got here. Yeah, so this took a while. Alright, here we are, finally inside the Spirit Temple. Now, there's going to be a slight problem here. As you can see, there's no way for us to proceed. If you want to proceed to the past, you return here with the pure heart of a child. If you want to travel to the future, you should return here with the power of silver from the past. So, this is the first and really only temple in this game that we have to come back as a child and basically go through it twice. We have to take the left path in the past as a child and take the right path afterwards when we come back. And this is Sheik, who is going to show up one more time to teach us the final teleportation song because we need to get back here from the Temple of Time now. Also, Sheik is going to philosophize a little bit on the passage of time for some reason. I don't know. Maybe Sheik's job is not very... doesn't have a lot of fulfillment in it. I mean, Sheik only shows up to teach us songs, give us cryptic advice, and then disappear. Oh, and get ragdoll around by a ghost. We've not forgotten about the ghost, by the way, Sheik. We just decided to come here first. The Requiem of the Spirit is the final song in this game. And with this, we can now get back here whenever we want, which is good because, well, like I said, we have to come back here as a child. And by the way, it is not possible to get to this point as a child at any time. Gerudo Fortress is basically locked off and you're not allowed in. So you have to do it exactly as I've done here to get in and out of this place. Alright, so we have to head back to the Temple of Time, but first, for one final time, Sheik is going to pull a disappearing act on us. This time using a sandstorm. Alright. Back to the Temple of Time. And then back here immediately. There's going to be a lot of that. Alright, you know this routine by now. Shove the Master Sword back in the pedestal, and then we head back to the Desert Colossus to head to the Spirit Temple properly. It's probably me just remembering going around and doing lots of side stuff, but I remember having to do this a lot more earlier on. The earlier games I played this, and I am playing this playthrough. Then again, like I said, I probably was doing a lot more side content in my earlier playthroughs because I'm doing this one, you know, as a race kind of. Alright, so Requiem of the Spirit. I haven't played this song in a long time, so it's A down A, left down A. Sorry, right down A. That's not important. Another very downward song. Alright, warp to the Desert Colossus. Alright, and here we are. Now, where is this in relation to... Oh, there we go. Alright, one more thing I want to do here. This is probably going to be the last... There's one more heart piece we can get here. Probably going to be for the last one in this series. I'm not sure if I'm going to how many more I'm going to get. Probably definitely not enough for another heart container. However, this is the last bean spot that we can plant a magic bean that eventually will get us a heart piece. When we come back as an adult Link, we can get it then. But for now, we have to head in the Spirit Temple. And here we meet Naburu. Well, we want to see the temple. We have to... Just a kid. The temple is no place for kids. Yeah, we basically can exhaust all the dialogue options looking for the sages, which is also true. Sage, I don't know anyone like that. And then we have to answer what she wants to hear. Well, no, I just told you what we're doing here, but, yeah, but she wants us to do a favor. Yeah, we don't want to... We're not Ganondorf's followers. Yeah. First of all, let me introduce myself. Yeah, we had a feeling we know who you are. So, she's kind of the lone wolf of the Gerudos, despite the fact she's technically second in command. Yeah, she's kind of like a thief with a heart of gold kind of character, kind of more chaotic good than anything. Yeah, Ganondorf steals from women and children, kills people. Oh, he's also taking over the world and starting a war with an army of monsters. So yeah, there's that. And here we have probably one of the most unusual aspects of Gerudo lore, the fact that only one male child is born in 100 years, and that child, for some reason, is prophesied to become king. Don't ask me why an entire female nation would decide to suddenly make the one man in their entire species born 100 years their king, but apparently it's a tradition, and they seem to be have a hard time letting go of those. So the treasure we're after is the silver gauntlets, and that's the power of silver we need. Basically what they do is they upgrade our ability to push and pull things, and lift things. Yeah, they won't fit a child, though. However, we do kind of need them. Apparently, Ganondorf and his minions using the Spirit Temple as a hideout. I guess that's why there's monsters here. Yeah, so Noburu's plan is kind of just to, well, still to be a thief. Sure. We kind of need those anyway. I'll do something great for you. There's the line that's launched 1,000 fan fictions. All of them not safe for work. So, we should probably not dwell on that any further. So, this is the, basically, the west wing of the Spirit Temple. This is the area we have to explore. So, we've got a bunch of keys, fire keys. Narmos there. Lots of traps in this dungeon, by the way. I think the Shadow Temple has more, though. Yeah. Probably. Alright, through here. So this is where we have to go. Unfortunately, as you're about to see, there's a locked door. So we need to find the key. This section, honestly, isn't that big. The majority of the spirit... It's not... we're not going through this temple twice and doing half each time. It's much more... When you come back the second time as an adult, I think there's more of it. Alright, so we have to probably take out this Armos to unlock these doors. Well, that takes a bomb, usually. There we go. Alright, so we've unlocked the doors here. Let's see where they go. I think we have to go this way first. Oh, not Astalphos. Okay, we haven't had to fight one of these things as a kid yet. Fortunately, there's only one. I could cast Nehru's Love here, but don't think it's necessary. Astalphos are pretty tough, especially because I'm doing half the damage I normally would with the Kokiri sword as opposed to the Master sword. Fortunately, there's only one of them. So this is one of the ones we have to kill two of them, and the other one reanimates if we're not fast enough. Unfortunately, we have very little room to maneuver. And as you've seen before, these things can just float on gaps in the air, so it's not having any difficulty at all. There we go, fine. Yeah, the boomerang doesn't kill these things, unfortunately. And here's where I try and, yeah, just get to the crystal switch without it. I probably should have just killed it with the slingshot first. So the boomerang, the trick here is to get the boomerang to hit that crystal switch, which will cause the bridge to topple over. The problem is this thing is huge and gets in the way. So at this point I decided to check out what's on the other path, even though I was fairly certain I had to go this way first. Yeah, so we can't go this way. This is one of those you have to... This is the way you come back, essentially. So this basically loops. So we now have to go through this again, and unfortunately because I left the room, I have to kill the Stalfos one more time. Yeah, as you can see, he can just, maybe he can't just walk over the gap. Yeah, the poor reach of the dagger I have here isn't really helping much. His sword is like 2 to 3 times the length of mine. So he definitely has the reach advantage. And of course, there's the whole fact that the Kakiri sword does half the damage the Master Sword does, as I mentioned previously. So that's probably the reason why young Link is weaker. It's not the fact that he's a kid, it's the fact that the sword he's using just does half damage. But I guess that could also be, you could argue that that's the reason. I mean, it's either the fact it's a legendary magical sword, or the fact that Link is now an adult, so he does twice the damage as a kid. It's probably it's probably 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, the old expression. You're basically explaining away the same thing. There we go! Well, it took a lot of hearts. Alright. Yeah, I need to get rid of this thing. Get out the slingshot. I need the slingshot to take care of it. Oh wow, that thing really... Oh, you actually try and follow his head targeting. That goes all over the place. Wow, that is disorienting. Don't follow it too much, you might get dizzy. There we go. Fortunately, it only takes 1 shot to take care of it. Yeah, I'm just like, do I need the slingshot here? No, I'm pretty sure it's the boomerang. Alright, now that it's not there... There we go. Much simpler. Okay, the flying pots are in here all the time. Blue rupee. Why? Nothing. Alright. Alright, and now we encounter a new enemy. Anubis. And yes, that Anubis from Egyptian mythology. In this case, it's just a mummified jackal head that floats around and breathes fire at us. Despite this fact, it is actually weak to fire. So you could lure it into that ring of fire they have set up there with the crystal switch, or do the much simpler way, just cast its fire. Just cast fireball and get it over with. 1 blast against fire is all it takes to get rid of it. Nothing else over here. Alright, through the door. Watch out for shadows of wall masters on top of everything else. Seriously? Yeah, so we have to collect these silver rupees, which will be a lot easier once we get rid of the wall master and the keys. There we go. It's finally decided to show up. Alright, just keep hacking away at it. Yeah, it takes 4 swings this time because I don't have the Master Sword. Alright, up here we go, but the golden Skulltula is in the way. Well, I cannot get rid of it until I have access to the outside, so there we go. Oh, it hits me there, I was just falling! That's the issue with contact damage. There we go. Alright, so that opens that up. Alright, now we should get rid of all these enemies before we proceed. I'm low on hearts, but it's not too big of a deal. I do have a fairy involved. I only have one. That's the downside of carrying 2 green potions on me, but personally, I think magic is going to be much more valuable going forward. 1 fairy should be more than enough healing. There's only a handful of enemies left in this game to do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, that means they're all really good, so. Alright. Yeah. Might as well grab this. Like I said, I'm not sure how many more of these I'm going to get. I might get to 30, which means I might get the wallet upgrade. But money really is not all that important at this point. The only thing I'm going to really be buying so far are potions if I run out. And, yeah. I can get fairies easily enough at all the fairy fountains. So just light the 2 torches over here. Alright, and this chest will contain the key we need. Right? Because I don't think there's any more... Well, yes. There's nowhere else for us to go. Alright, back to the main chamber here now, and through the passageway. Alright, so now we need to go through the locked door. But first, is there any hearts I can get from these chests? These are boxes. No, Deku nuts. What? Bombs? Who's using Deku nuts at this point? Alright, well, I know why that's there, but I had the boomerang, so I'm fine. Alright, take care of the other one with the boomerang. Yeah, honestly, I've never found the Deku nuts to be too useful in this game. Especially not at this point. Most of the enemies left are kind of either outright immune to them or just it's not very effective. There's other more effective ways of doing things at this point. And here we have another gold Skulltula, which I'll get just because I'm here. This is basically the level of out of way I want to go to get the golden Skulltulas at this point. It's just in my they're just there at this point. Speaking of Skulltulas, a couple more to take care of. Yes. Okay. Light is a major theme in this dungeon, by the way. Alright, so let's check out these Lizalfos first. And yes, I see these Lizalfos. There's 2 of them. But at the moment, we only have 1 spawn at the moment. So, take care of it. So that sun switch there, we have to trigger by letting the light. There we go. Alright. Blue rupee, okay, it's the other one I need. And here we have one of the few remaining items we don't have so far. The Bombachus. So yeah. They're basically mouse-shaped bombs that scurry along walls. And explode in impact. We need them here because we have to bomb that, bomb the rock out of the way up there. Alright, so if we target that, yeah, unfortunately it has to be out of the way, so let's try that now. Whoa, where's that going? Maybe I'm too far away? I only have so many of these. This is like the one time these things are actually useful. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, they're only basically, apart from the bottle we're missing, there's only 2 more slots left in our inventory. And I'm going to ignore that Lizalfos because we can. Alright, so... Alright, push this Armos onto the blue switch there to weigh it down. So this is one of the main areas of this temple, and we will have to come back here at some point because, like I said, we're going to come back as an adult at some point. Because there's not a lot we can do at this point. Alright, I think we're almost through with this, our first foray into the Spirit Temple. As you can tell by the time left, due to how long the Gerudo Fortress took, we're not getting through the Spirit Temple today, unfortunately. We're going to get through the child section, and then I'm going to save the adult section for next time. Which might mean, depending if I want to do the Gerudo training ground, which is kind of annoying, or not, well, we might do 2 temples at once, because I might be able to get through the Shadow Temple. I don't know how much longer I could have, as I said, that's why this video is going to be a bit shorter. One, I got frustrated in the Gerudo Temple, the Gerudo Desert section, so, didn't want to push this too much. And second of all, I just didn't know if I was going to get it done in the 2-hour mark, and I tried to keep these with close to 2 hours, because for all I know, there's another hour left that we have to do in the Spirit Temple as an adult. I think I remember that section being longer. But do not quote me on that. Alright, so now we have to get... There's a few things we can do here. First, light all these torches. Yeah, just missed 2 of them, I think. Yeah, there we go. That doesn't work. Let's try it again. Ow! Alright, there. There. Really having difficulty with those blade cuts there. And there. Alright, so that'll spawn a chest. I think it's... yeah, it's over there by the other torch. We also have to get this sun switch on this block into the light. As I said, there's a major theme of light in this temple, despite the fact it's not being the light temple. Yeah. There's also an indication that the light temple probably was going to be a dungeon at some point, but that was cut. I don't know why. Maybe probably due to either time constraints during development or just space, because there probably wasn't a lot of space on the N64 cartridges at the time. Who can say? You'd have to ask someone who worked on Nintendo in the late 90s for that. So that lets us out of here now. Alright, what was in this chest again? Oh, a key. Yeah, we did need that. I say, if it was rupees, I was going to be really annoyed. But no, we do need the key getting here. Alright, and this is essentially the boss for this segment, even though there's no boss fight itself. An Iron Knuckle. So this is probably... the Iron Knuckles are probably the strongest enemies in this game. Regular enemies. They're basically almost always supposed to be a mini-boss. And now I'm going to cast Nehru's Love here, so you can see the blue crystal barrier it creates. So the Iron Knuckle is really tough and does a lot of damage with that attacks. So the trick here is to chip away its armor with our Kokiri sword. Certainly that's the best strategy. And as you can see, I'm going to let it hit me here because I took no damage that swing. Normally that would take off 3 hurts. One of the most powerful enemies in this game. Once we get rid of its armor there, now we can actually start damaging it. This is a common strategy that became an aspect for Iron Knuckles and Dark Knuckles and later Zelda games as well. By the way, its axe will break the pillars, and you can collect hearts and other resources from it. Unfortunately, with its armor gone, it now also moves faster. Start using spin attacks, jump attacks, whatever it takes. With Nehru's Love, you don't have to worry too much. So yeah, the casting time, the duration for Nehru's Love is a little over a minute by the looks of it. Because I was obviously timing this with because I had to do the voiceover for this section. So around a minute. Still pretty good. It's long enough for a fight. And we run into the owl for one last time, I believe. Yeah, even I thought that the tales of a boy who could travel back and forth through time was merely a legend. It is a legend. It's the Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. It just happens to also be true. Well, I mean, that's kind of debatable, I guess. Maybe it's not my time anymore. Here is my last advice. 2 witches inhabit this temple. In order to destroy them, turn their own magic power against them. A major theme of that in in Legend of Zelda. I will continue to watch you. Yeah, I think that's our last conversation we have with him. All right. Time to open the treasure chest and get the silver gauntlets, which we kind of promised to give to Nabooru. If you wore them, you would feel power in your arms, the power to lift big things with, yeah. But these gauntlets won't fit an adult. Sorry, one a kid. So, plus you promised to give them to Nabooru, you should keep your word. Yeah. Fortunately, the game is going to conspire against us keeping our word. Yeah, so that's Nabooru screaming at the moment. Yep, look down. So these are this is Twin Rova. These are the witches that the owl just mentioned. And as you see, they're taking her into this vortex, and they're using black magic on her. With all of the various religious and occult like censorship that Nintendo in the 90s went through, I'm surprised an overt reference to black magic made it into an E for everyone rated game. Because Western Nintendo was very, very anal about that back in the 90s. Alright. So, back to the Temple of Time now. There's nothing more we can do here for the moment. Unfortunately, that means Nabooru is going to have to wait 7 years for us to rescue her. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. And before anyone says anything, us rescuing Nabooru is not a spoiler. It should be pretty obvious we were going to do that. Alright. Get the Master Sword and then head back. Get the heart piece. Probably heal up in the Fairy Fountain, because they use a fair bit of magic and it took a bit of a beating in that temple. Alright. And then we'll be calling it, because not much more we can do here. I did consider whether or not we should do the Spirit Temple second half in this video, but I decided it was probably going to be too much. Make the video go on for too long. Bit of a shorter one. We can afford that now, the fact that it's pretty clear that we're going to make this. Alright, back here at the Desert Colossus. Where is that fairy fountain? Let's start there. Oh, no. Apparently just getting overwhelmed by... what I'm probably trying to do is refocus the camera in the direction I want to go, but it's getting Z... Because it's Z targeting as well, it's locking onto all of the lead bars. There we go. Alright, let's heal up. Yeah, so if you don't know, revisiting any of the Great Fairy Fountains and playing Zelda's Lullaby will just have them heal you. Complete refill to health and magic. It's not hard to heal in this game. But I like having the potions on hand just in case I run out of magic, because I use a fair bit of it. Then. Now, we can go with the heart piece. And then it'll be into the Spirit Temple. Oh, which is where we will be calling it for today. Why did I... That's probably just a misclick. Alright, one last ride on the Magic Bean Carpet. And this one... Oh yeah, this one goes all over the place, by the way. Alright, and here we go, get off. And here it is. In all likelihood, the last heart piece we will ever get in this game. I don't think there are many more that are not off the beaten track. Still, with 2 more heart containers to go from the various temples, they'll give us a total of 16 hearts for the end game. That's pretty good. Alright, and as I said earlier, this is where we're going to call it for today, because... well, I doubt the remains of this temple is going to take half an hour. So, this is a good stopping point. So we'll be back here next week. We'll finish up the second half of the Spirit Temple. And after that, well, there's a good chance we'll either do the Gerudo training grounds or the Shadow Temple. I would like to get the ice arrows just because I want to get every magical item in this game. And they can be used on the boss on the Shadow Temple, and it's kind of nice to showcase that, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes, because the Gerudo training grounds is really annoying. In the meantime, thank you for watching, everyone. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and please join me here again next time. We will continue our adventures in the lands of Hyrule, trying to beat Ocarina of Time before the remake releases. We're well on track at this point. Goodbye, everyone.